Hello and welcome to your source for voice technology news, tips, and more for marketers, researchers, and the curious. My name is Jose Cotto and I am the Voice CEO. Let's get started. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Welcome back. And today we're going to be taking a look at the voice assistant funnel, what it is, why you need it, how to leverage it for your business, and everything in between. Now, I, like many of you, hate the term the new normal. But as much as we may hate it, there is no escaping that there is something new now. There is a new way of being, a new way of doing business, a new way of interaction. Everything that has changed in the last 2 years, or actually in the last year, has led us to this new plane of existence. I hate saying the new normal, but that's what most people would refer it to. And in this new normal, we're challenged to find new, safe, and engaging ways to connect with our customers and prospects. If you're looking for an efficient, safe way to build your customer relationship with a personal, authentic touch and to grow personal, authentic connections, or you want to create valuable opt-in offers via voice assistants without spending weeks and thousands in development and planning, or you want to capitalize on the growing reach and usage of voice assistants. If any of these things sounds like it may be relative to you and your business, then the voice assistant funnel is for you. It most definitely is. While you may be familiar with what a marketing funnel is, how we get users into our flywheel via websites, landing pages, and mobile apps, you're likely just starting to hear and learn about driving engagement via voice assistants. Imagine the very best parts of all your other strategies combined with a personalized delivery that turns the whole experience into a verbal, auditory, authentic conversation. This is a voice assistant funnel. In a recent study by Voxley Digital, they showed how much voice experiences, especially during the time of the pandemic, delivered as Alexa skills on Amazon Alexa or as actions on Google Assistant, how those voice experiences can impact a customer's relationship with a brand. Consumers reported feeling a higher level of personal connection with brands when they can connect with and converse with their favorite brands via voice assistants. It's through this feeling of personal relationship combined with value and convenience that the voice assistant funnel excels. The voice assistant funnel takes a user through a progressive journey or a conversation with the intention of building authority, trust, and a genuine belief and relationship with your brand. That journey or conversation ideally ends with some sort of call to action. It might be set an appointment, talk to an advisor, or request more information. To close your voice assistant funnel, your call to action should integrate directly into your favorite CRM tools. Think like HubSpot, Salesforce, and Soho. Whatever your marketing and sales teams prefer, but really that is what completes your voice assistant funnel, is that endpoint that integrates with those systems and applications you're already using to build up your sales efforts. Your voice assistant funnel must have three key ingredients, which we're going to go through now. And it's these three ingredients that successfully turn your average Amazon Alexa or Google Assistant device into a high value lead driving machine that scales, drives authentic connections, and really levels up your business. So, what are these three ingredients? So, while every voice assistant funnel is unique to its brand and desired user experience, they all need three essential ingredients to be effective: valuable functionality. In other words, you're actually delivering some value to the user. You're giving them a reason to go back to their Alexas and Googles and trigger this voice experience of yours. A progressive activity, so that the more they use it, the more they get out of it. And then the final ingredient is an authentic sonic branding. So, how it sounds, how that voice experience conveys your branding and makes your customer feel about your brand and your voice experience. We have a ton of content on sonic branding, so I'm not going to go really super deep into it, but leveraging voice assistants with effective sonic branding is the key to a lot of this. See, the superpower of audio driven interactions is that you could be washing dishes, playing a video game, or knitting while engaging with a voice first, audio first experience. With this in mind, you have a lot of options when it comes to checking off that first ingredient that we shared, the valuable functionality, that first ingredient to your voice assistant funnel. Delivering value should always be your top priority, which is why it's the number one ingredient for the success of your funnel. Providing something that makes the lives of your customers and prospects better is key to driving adoption, usage, and leads via your voice assistant funnel. You want to create experiences that inspire or educate or help a user execute a task, gain information, or just motivate them. Of course, these are not the only ways to provide value, but model after any one of these, and you're off to a pretty good start. With your voice experience, you also want to encourage repeat usage. It's repeat usage that helps reinforce your brand authority, your brand identity, and drives lead opportunities up. A great way of driving repeat usage is through progressive activity. Think of something along the lines of the 7-day fitness challenge or 10 days to digital dominance as voice experiences. Every time a user engages, you offer them a way to progress through an activity, gain access to new content, or build themselves up. It's through their repeat usage and progressions that you become a daily or weekly fixture into their lives, into their routines. Your voice experience must build upon itself, upon new opportunities for engagement, and provide the necessary level of value to become that routine, to become that part of their lives. It's through becoming that fixture that the deepest relationships are built with your brand. That final core ingredient, which is sonic branding again. Sonic branding, put simply, is the sound of you and your brand. Think of the tones of a Whirlpool dishwasher or the sound of your PlayStation when you start it up, or that all famous, indistinguishable sound of the McDonald's logo. You know these sounds, and as soon as you hear them, you know exactly what brand goes along with them. That is sonic branding, and that is the beauty of sonic branding. Whether it's your voice, a tone, or a jingle, you must sonically brand your voice experience and ensure that the sonic branding stays intact, regardless if a user is engaging via an Amazon Alexa skill, an action on Google Assistant, or some other voice assistant channel, Samsung Bixby, Siri, however it is you bring your experience to life in voice. Wherever your users are engaging from should sound the same. It should sound like you and your brand. So now let's take a look at some of the pitfalls you want to avoid with your voice assistant funnel. Done right, the voice assistant funnel delivers an authentic, value-driving, lead-generating experience brands can leverage to grow their relationships and their bottom line for a long time. There are a few pitfalls you want to avoid, however, when implementing a voice assistant funnel, and let's dive into a couple of those. The first one: never get greedy. Never be greedy. Never request information from users, whether verbally or through account linking. This is something we can dive into a little bit later. That is not necessary for the core functionality of the voice experience. Only ask for a user's personal information when required and in support of a specific action. So, for example, you may ask for a user's name and phone number in order to make an appointment or talk to an advisor. But that information is necessary to make that connection, right? But you wouldn't ask for a user's email address if they were just getting today's advice. So you got to see that difference there. You got to ask for information when it's appropriate, especially via voice. Much of what you ask and when you ask for it has to do with experience design. But the best rule of thumb is if it's not needed for the user experience you're delivering, just don't ask for it. coming back to that account linking real quick. So account linking is a function, a system function that these devices like your Amazon Alexa or Google Assistant allow a vendor or brand to leverage, which essentially gives you permission to collect and receive the end users' information that they've set up for their device. So, for example, if you enable account linking on an Amazon Alexa device and the user leveraging your voice experience gives you permission to account linking, then you might receive their full name, their email address, phone number, address, all sorts of information. And it is really great from a data collection standpoint, but if you don't leverage it appropriate to the experience you're building, it's not going to work for you, and it's not going to work for the user experience in voice. So again, going back to that example where you need a phone number and a name to make an appointment, definitely a scenario where account linking would be leveraged. Second pitfall to avoid: don't overlook cross-platform requirements. So different platforms have different terms of service and different terms of use, just like you'd expect. The kinds of things your voice experience is allowed to do on an Amazon Alexa may be different than, say, on Google Assistant or Samsung Bixby, strictly dictated by the terms of service of those providers. So when you're building out your experience design, be sure you're taking into account where you're headed. In other words, what's that target environment? If you're just building for Amazon Alexa, I mean, after all, here in the States, they've got over 70% of the market. Then you just have to worry about their terms of service. But if you're looking at an international market, or if you're looking at Australia, for example, where Australia's dominance is really in Google Assistant, then you'll want to pay attention to the terms of service of Google Assistant. If you're going hybrid and you want to do cross-platform worldwide, then you definitely have to keep an eye on aligning your voice experience with those terms of services. The third pitfall to avoid is your time to launch. The review and approval time, basically, it takes to get one of these voice experience live after you've launched it. So similar to how Amazon Alexa and Google Assistant may have different terms of service and terms of use policies, they also go about reviewing and approving a new voice experience in different ways. The process of reviewing your voice experience and approving it takes time, and there's no set time, right? So the different types of experiences can take longer to review than others. So for example, if you're doing something that's very straightforward, like let's say collecting customer feedback for your service, right? That may be approved within a couple hours. We've seen it as fast as 3 or 4 hours, or it could take as long as 48 hours. But let's say you're launching an entire experience aimed at children. Obviously, to protect our children, Amazon takes extra effort to review those, so it could take a longer period of time. The longest we've seen an approval process take has been about 14 days. But we also, at True Reply, support like HIPAA-compliant voice applications and such, which do require a deeper review process on the vendor's side. And basically what you want to the pitfall here is accounting for that time to launch when it comes to your marketing and awareness campaigns, right? So you don't want to be premature. You don't want to start driving awareness of your voice experience until it's fully approved. You may do like a coming soon kind of campaign, but you definitely don't want to just start driving users to a landing page that takes them to the voice experience without that voice experience being fully available. So that's where that time to launch, that approval time, is super important to be aware of. I think this might be the final pitfall. Yeah, the final pitfall here is that it's not a one and done strategy, right? And this is shouldn't have to be said, especially in this world of a software-driven services. But once your voice experience is live, you should be starting to plan its next iteration or version or tweak. Think 2 moves ahead and how you're going to keep users coming back, right? Think of a voice experience almost like a TV show. To maximize your investment, you don't just make one season. You want your voice experience to evolve over time and create even more value for users the more they come back to it. So if we go back to the 10-day digital dominance challenge, right, that might lead to your 3-day LinkedIn marketing bootcamp, or plan on updating the content of your voice experience in response to user behavior or feedback, right? So let's say you've got that 10-day digital dominance challenge going on, and while as part of the challenge, they might hear, they might experience the voice aspect of your challenge, but then be asked to provide some feedback or how they felt about a particular step in the challenge, and that can help you then improve your voice experience for the next cohort, the next set of users that are going to go through your challenge. What you do not want to do is launch and forget about it. Don't just launch your voice experience, throw a little marketing its way, and then just let it stale out. You've built a brand building, lead generating machine in your voice experience. So it's super important that you nurture it. As long as you avoid the pitfalls that we just touched on and focus on delivering a valuable voice experience, your voice assistant funnel will become a long-term value-adding asset to your brand and your sales team. So just to recap real quick what your voice assistant funnel is. Your voice assistant funnel is a voice experience that delivers value while at the same time having an organic component to drive leads, to drive users to take an action, to become a lead or to become a customer or whatever your end goal is of that funnel. That's the entirety of a voice assistant funnel. The kind of experience you leverage for your voice assistant funnel can take several forms, and you can deploy different strategies. To help you figure out which strategy you want to leverage, we actually put together a great blog post and an audio series covering the 5 strategies for leveraging your voice assistant to increase brand awareness, increase engagement, and drive deeper consumer relationships. You can find that on our blog, truereply.com/blog, as well as on the playlist of the podcast you're listening to right now. These examples that we put together are a great start to building your voice assistant funnel. So it's a great place to go next after hearing this. While the voice assistant funnel might feel a bit out of left field, it's that level of obscurity. It's actually that level of novelty, that thing that you might have just heard about that makes it such a unique opportunity for your consumers to experience, to make your brand stand out. Because while the saturation level of voice assistants is incredibly high, and I mean Amazon Alexa and Google Assistant are absolutely everywhere, odds are that on your phone right now, you've got one or both. Odds are that in your home, you may have an Amazon Alexa or Google Assistant, smart speaker type of device, and the great percentage of you might even have Amazon Alexa in your cars. But while these devices, these voice assistants, while they're everywhere, most businesses have yet to embrace them. So this is your opportunity. This is where you, as a forward-thinking leader, as a forward-thinking innovator, can take voice, bring it into part of your growth and consumer engagement plan, and really impact your business. This is Jose Cotto, the Voice CEO, wishing you a fantastic weekend and a wonderful and healthy week ahead. For show notes, please visit truereply.com/The Voice CEO.